I left a very lucrative job, and I went to college. And we went from having about anything we wanted to just living in poverty. But I'm going to tell you what, as we have looked back, and I can say so from my own heart and life, I wouldn't take anything for those days when we had nothing. Because in that time, all we had was God. Somebody said, you're just living from hand to mouth. I said, that's right. It's my mouth in God's hand, and He's the one that's feeding me. But in that time of greatest need is when God taught me faith, and when God taught me to trust Him in every way. And God taught me to be zealous about the things of heaven. And God taught me to understand people around me who had as little as I did or less than I did. And to understand how that they struggle. And God taught me lessons that I could not have learned any other way. But I said, Lord, I receive this as a gift from your hand, believing that you're at work in my life, in order to bring me to a place that you have for me in my world. The principle of receiving. Now think with me just for a minute and we're through. Have you resisted God's work in your life as husband and wife? Or have you come to a place to where you say, Lord, I don't understand. There's so much that I see in my mate that just is not what I want it to be. But because you brought them into my life right now, I'm receiving them as your perfect gift into my life. And I'm releasing the Spirit then to work in me, to help me be all to my mate that God intends that I would be, to help them to become all that God intends for them to be. If you've got a problem at your job, have you ever come to the place to say, Lord, I'm receiving this job and all the circumstances that surround it as your gift into my life, and I'm releasing you to work in my situation? Or your family, or you've got some other hardship that you're facing, and you're just struggling with it, and you're resisting it, and it just seems to get worse. Could it be that you've opened the door and Satan is now finding an inroad in order to work against you? And rather than that, could you just say, Lord, whatever this is, and you name it, not me, you name it, whatever this is, if it's a health problem, if it's a financial problem, if it's a problem with somebody at my work, if it's a problem with somebody in the church, if it's a difficulty in my home, if I'm having a problem with my children, I accept this or these as your gift into my life. And in doing so, I release the Holy Spirit that He can work in me and through me. I will tell you again, when I began to catch hold of this principle, it turned my life around. And I encourage you to say, Lord, I may not understand all that He's saying, but I believe the Bible is true. And I want you to teach me so that I can receive from your hand those things that come into my world.